Tabes, where do we start off on this episode?
I think we got to start off right with the main event. Let's just get right into it.
Let's jump into it.
Yep. Aleksei Oleinik, Derrick Lewis. This did not go any way. Like I was so wrong. And shout out to Derrick Lewis and his jiu-jitsu coaches, because it's so obviously they've been working like hours and hours on the mat, dude. He has improved so much on the ground. I think like to get those reversals and transitions in that first round.
Would have never saw it coming. I mean, I was literally just joking around about the preview show of this very card, saying, "What is Derrick Lewis, a white belt?"
I know,
right?
I know.
And like I was really impressed with Derrick Lewis. I got to be honest with you. Whatever they're doing over there, I mean, he's got a blue belt. I know that, but
at least,
man, I was really, really impressed with those transitions on the ground. I didn't think he had it in him.
Yeah.
He proved me wrong. He proved everyone else wrong too. And coming off that ACL injury too.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he looked great. I got to be honest. I was shocked at Derrick Lewis's performance.
Yeah, because
good on him.
Well, I mean, the whole narrative of this fight was if it goes down to the ground, it's over.
It's over.
It's completely over, and he proved us wrong. Holy shit! I mean, there were a few times like in those scrambling transitions where they were getting back to the feet that Aleksei Oleinik were landing those takedowns and taking him down himself with those single legs, and he did pretty good.
Yeah,
he survived. Like he wasn't eating huge shots, but we got to talk about that head and arm choke or bulldog choke or whatever that was.
Yeah, it was close. It was close to being pulled off. I mean, even Derrick Lewis after in that interview said he started snorting and shit.
Yeah.
Saying he couldn't breathe, but he said his kids would never let him live it down if he did get submitted. And he got out of it too, man.
Yeah, well, just forget about the just not breathing part, just the pain.
Oh my God!
Having your head squeezed like that. Oh my God!
Yeah. Well, and your spine too. I mean, you got to feel like your head's getting disconnected from your spine, dude.
Yeah,
that's a lot of torque, especially for a heavyweight with that much strength. Again, like I just, for lack of a better term, like I couldn't believe it. I could not believe he pulled that off. Like to be able to get out of that.
Yeah, and so the first round ends. Second round starts. I mean, shit, what? Flying knee to straight right, and it was over?
Flying knee to straight right, yep.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Just so much power,
and
dude.
Again, it seems like Herb Dean is in the hot seat once more. But
really?
thought...
For that fight?
Yep. I saw an article that said Herb Dean still finding problems, still not stopping.
I thought that was a fine stoppage.
I thought it was a fine stoppage too, man. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what's going on in the MMA community where, like, I feel like everyone's after Herb Dean. I said that last episode too. I thought it was a fine stoppage. I thought if he would have stopped that, like, before we saw Derrick Lewis drop those hammer fists, we kind of would have been pissed because he would have been like, back. What are we doing? Because he was fighting back. He wasn't unconscious. He wasn't out. He didn't take an exuberant amount of punishment. I thought it was a fine stoppage. So, I disagree with everyone who's upset about that stoppage. I thought it was fine.
Really?
I think people are getting a little too picky
on
the whole stoppage thing, man.
I didn't even know really that fight was even controversial in the slightest bit.
So then you do think that was a fine stoppage, right?
Absolutely fine. Like, I mean, he was fighting back until he wasn't.
Yeah.
The second he started to go, he stepped in and saved him, and I thought it was beautiful. It was fine.
It was weird. Yeah. But nonetheless, shout out to Derrick Lewis. I mean, you look great. He's number 4 in the world before this fight. So he's a real he's been a contender this whole time. But, after coming back from that ACL injury, he's a real contender in the heavyweight division. I look forward to seeing his next fight.
Did you see that Oleinik was like 229 or something like that?
Yeah, Derrick was 32 pounds heavier than him.
So crazy. Well, Derrick says he isn't taking another fight until he weighs 240, 255. 245, 230. He said, he said that's going to be the perfect fighting weight.
Yeah, dude, it's probably hard on his body to be that heavy.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just your cardio. Mm-hmm. Like him and Walt Harris, those huge boys that are cutting weight to get to 265. Yep. Shit, he'd cut 20 pounds to get 265. Just crazy. It's got to be so detrimental on your gas tank to be that heavy.
So let's talk about where Derrick Lewis goes next. I think Aleksei Oleinik, I think it's safe to say at 43 years old, this was his last shot at making a run for the title. Would you agree with that statement or no?
It depends. Heavyweight's one of these divisions. It only takes a couple wins consecutively to really be in a title shot contention. Yeah,
and I do agree with that to a point. But at the same point, you got Francis Ngannou in the wings, Curtis Blades.
Yeah, well, Francis has to fight. I would say the Curtis Blades. I'd love to see Lewis versus Blades.
That's
the matchup.
Too. I think that's the matchup to make. Curtis Blades sitting at 3, Derrick Lewis just winning 3 and 4, and then you kind of got an argument for Curtis Blades if he were to go out there and beat Derrick Lewis. That hey, whether or not he lost to Francis twice, he deserves another title shot.
Yeah, well, if it's for the title, that's the only way I think you make that fight.
Yes.
So it'd have to be for a title. Say Francis fucking knocks out the winner of this next weekend's fight. Who knows?
Well, no, DC's retiring.
Maybe.
Oh yeah,
You never know, dude. You never know. If money talks.
Someone was saying, I don't remember who, but it was some UFC commentator or whatever. But they were talking about how DC, they think that if DC were to win this fight, he's going to take on John Jones, saying he can't pass up money.
Too, yeah.
But I don't see that, man. I don't think DC wants that fight.
Yeah.
Not that I think he's scared of John Jones, because I still think in his mind like he can beat him, and I think DC can beat him. Honestly, I think he still holds a shot.
I think the last thing DC wants is to lose the heavyweight championship of the world to John Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like worst nightmare situation.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're gonna bet, if you're a bet man, you bet on yourself. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely think the winner of a Derrick Lewis Curtis Blades deserves a title shot, and I wouldn't be mad if it was a Derrick Lewis and he got the Ngannou fight. I kind of want to see that fight again. I know the first fight was like literally probably goes down in history as the worst fight of all time. Like,
Ngannou Lewis?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be. It's like I don't even know what other fight
there's no other fight. Yeah, there's no other fight is worse than that.
Yeah, it was
especially
terrible.
with all the hype surrounding that
and
fight.
That's what made it so bad. Exactly. If that was like a prelim fight nobody gave a fuck about and that happened, it wouldn't even be a big deal. Yeah. But because it was the most hyped fight of all time and it turned into be the shittiest fight of all time, it didn't work out.
Right.
It didn't work out. I wouldn't be mad to see it though.
No.
Like if Derrick Lewis came in healthy and has a good back and actually throws for once, dude, that's a very interesting fight in my opinion. But with Ngannou in that fight, if he would have just fucking thrown something, maybe he would have won with his freakish power. Who knows? It's just an interesting matchup.
But I think you think Uncle Dana does that though?
Probably
I mean, he
not.
puts that fight together again.
Probably
I mean, that's
not. I don't even know if
you're
sells.
risking a lot.
It's not going to be hyped up.
No,
like will that
it
fight
can't
even
be.
sell?
Not the same way. You can't put promotional money behind that with the idea that the second time around. I mean, because you have nothing to go on. You have no promo to cut. Come watch the most boring heavyweight fight in history. Watch it again live on pay-per-view. You know, like that just doesn't.
Yeah, for
sell.
a belt this time.
Yeah, it does. It does make it. It's rough. I don't know how you cut that promo.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I guess we just got to move on from that because that just stunk up our episode.